All right, my friends, it is the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. Today is Saturday, October the 4th, 2025, and I'm recording this on Thursday night after the Yankees, with their backs against the wall for two straight nights, defeated the Red Sox to win the wild card round and head to, I guess they call it the division series. There's so many playoff series, I forget what they call them all, but to head to the division series against the Toronto Blue Jays. The Yankees are 3 short series wins away from being the world champions. Wouldn't that be nice? Hey, my dear friends, let's make today a great day. And how do you make your day great? Well, you watch the Yankees win. No. How do you make your day great? You look around, you see the goodness in this world, you see the goodness that's in your life, and you take the time to appreciate it. When we appreciate all the goodness that's around us and we take it in, you can't help but have a good day, even if the Yankees had lost. And then you take that goodness and you perpetuate it by giving it to others. Spread the goodness forward. When we give love, when we give kindness, empathy, gratitude, understanding, all of those attributes, they come back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. So as you know, this program is also brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Artemisia is a fine, traditional, but independent publisher located here in the good old United States of America, and they have published a host of great books, including, coming in February, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number. They've also published other books by me, including Scattering the Ashes, the least among them, 365.2, and Roy White's From Compton to the Bronx. Check out Artemisia Publishing at apbooks.net for a giant selection of great books across a plethora of genres. So check them all out. Many books, many genres, award winners. And of course, go to Start Spreading the News, the greatest Yankees site there is. There will be plenty of articles, but I did make an announcement on the Start Spreading the News podcast, and I made the announcement already on the blog itself. I'm going back to work. They're calling me out of the bullpen to be a principal again. I'm retired, but a school district needed me. And so while we do promise to have articles and have had articles every single day on Start Spreading the News at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., in addition to the game threads and the quick hits and all that, during the time I'm working, which will really be October, November, and December, we're just not going to promise to have 3+ articles every single day. There may be days when some of those articles are very short. There may be days when we only put up 1 article. There may be days when we only put up 2 articles. So we're going to back off of our promises on Start Spreading the News for the next couple months. As you know, I also teach college. I also have 3 books, including that Yankee book we're bringing to the final stages. All of that's happening at the same time, in addition to running the site, in addition to being a member of a functioning family, in addition to traveling to see my grandchildren as often as I can, in addition to serving on a committee at church, in addition to so many other things. There's just so much a person can do. So check out Start Spreading the News, the greatest Yankee site, but understand that we're not promising 5 billion articles like we have been doing every single day since 2017. But let's talk Yankees. Let's talk Yankees, my friends. They did it. They did it. And the biggest news of all, yes, Cam Schlittler was phenomenal. The most amazing thing. I mean, after 6 innings, you're like, are they going to give him the 7th? They gave him the 7th. I was in favor of that. And then I'm like, he's done. He goes out and he pitches the 8th, throws very few pitches, 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, no runs, no walks. The first pitcher in Major League history to ever do that. Normally with the Yankees, as we watch Aaron Judge just obliterate record books and set the highest possible standards, normally with the Yankees, when players do great things, all of a sudden you're mentioning them with, well, you know, he just caught Babe Ruth. Well, you know, he just tied Joe DiMaggio. Well, you know, he just matched a Mickey Mantle record. Well, there it was. He is now in the same company as Lou Gehrig. I mean, that's what it is to be a Yankee fan. When a great player comes up and does great things for a season or over many seasons, he is now joined elite company. Cam is in his own company. It's not like, well, Schlittler just joined Lefty Gomez and Red Ruffing and Whitey Ford and Ron Guidry and Roger Clemens. No, he didn't join any of them. And it's not even as if you can say, well, he joined Cy Young and Lefty Grove and Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax or whatever. Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson. No. He created his own. He's in his own company. That's remarkable. No pitcher in the major leagues has ever pitched that well in a game. 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, no walks, no runs. Crazy. Wow. All right, so listen, I have been saying it. I am a critical Yankee fan. I get down on the team. I have been frustrated with the team for a long, long time. But I guess since late August or early September, I started saying, you know what? These guys are going to make the playoffs. I was saying it before all those tough series. They had the 9-game gauntlet or whatever against the other playoff teams and all that. I said, don't worry about it. Yankees will get through this and they're going to the playoffs. There is no doubt. And I keep saying, I think they have the pitching. EJ and I have talked about this on the Start Spreading the News program, which going forward, at least for a number of weeks, is going to be the same program. This show will air for the Dr. Sem Show and then for the Start Spreading the News show on Monday nights at 9. I'm just going to cut back. I'm going to, again, keep everything within reason. I'm trying to juggle a lot of things. And when I do things, I do them well. I do them to the best of my ability. And I'm not going to put out inferior work just to meet deadlines and things. So we're going to take it easy. There's going to be some of the same shows. Monday night show will be different this week. But next week, it'll probably be the same show as what airs next Saturday, which actually will be an interview with former Major League pitcher Ray Burris. It's well worth seeing. That will be this show, Saturday, October 11th. There will be no playoff talk on that show. It will be me talking with former Major League pitcher Ray Burris about Mark Littell's great book that was written posthumously. But that'll come next week. But I've been saying for weeks now and telling it to EJ and writing it on the blog, for the first time in a long time, EJ and I had a long talk about this on Monday night. I think the Yankees finally have the pitching to go deep into the playoffs and win the World Series. I haven't felt that way. Year after year, I felt, even when the Yankees made the playoffs, that Yeah, they made it. Okay, anything can happen in a short series, but they're just not that good. It's a weak team. And I don't feel that way this year. I think Max Fried is great. I think Carlos Rodon pitched great. We went through a couple weeks ago how they're both in the top 10 on so many pitching categories in the American League. If you have two stud pitchers at the top of your rotation for a playoff series, you are in great shape. And now today, Schlittler, he just made this now 3 great pitchers. Now, again, he's a rookie. He's a kid. Anything can happen in his next start. I did write on Start Spreading the News after he had a bad start a couple weeks ago. Maybe it's time to shut him down. Maybe he's pitched too many innings. He's been put into a big, tough spot. Boy, did he prove me wrong. At least he did tonight. Again, this is airing on Saturday, so at least he did on Thursday night. What an amazing game. But the biggest story of all, might be that Aaron Boone outmanaged Alex Cora. All right, hit stop, rewind, and let me say it again. Aaron Boone outmanaged Alex Cora. For the first time, I believe, in any of my memory, well, I know in any of my memory, but I believe in the history of the Yankees over these last many years, Aaron Boone did not get outmanaged. He got outmanaged in game 1. The Yankees thought too hard. They decided to get too cute by sitting Jazz and sitting Ben Rice and playing Caballero and Rosario, guys who haven't really started much for the Yankees at all, at second and third, and let's come up with some funky little ways to win. We're going to play the percentages, 9-hole at-bats and things like that. That was not smart. You go with who got you there. I said that on the Mike Pinto show before the game even began. I said it with EJ, I believe, on Monday night. You go with who got you there. Don't get cute. Play the guys. Well, he did it in games 2 and 3, and they won games 2 and 3. And he outmanaged Alex Cora in games 2 and 3. In game 2, Cora left Whitlock in far too long. He left him in to get knocked around. And he left him in so long that he was unavailable on Thursday night in the all-important winner-take-all game 3. And then on Thursday night, with the rookie, the Red Sox, it was obvious before all the runs scored that he had lost it. And I said to Ethan, as I'm watching the game with him, I said, it's time to take him out. And Cora left him in there. And he left him in for another batter. And he left him in for another batter. And Boone, the much maligned Aaron Boone, and a lot of that maligning has come from me, I will tell you. But again, I started saying this month, you know what? I don't know what he's doing. I don't know where the magic is coming from. But while he steers the team into dangerous waters, he also has this miraculous ability to steer them out of it. I didn't say he was making great decisions as a manager, but in this series, hey, crazier things have happened. Maybe he finally grew into the job, but he outmanaged Alex Cora, and the lineup he had was brilliant. He kept having different lefties than righties, lefties, righties. In game 1, he used up all of his bench strength, all of the creativity, all of the possible maneuvering, all of the shifting of the lineup. He used it all up when he wrote the starting lineup. That was not smart. He gave himself no flexibility to have a big right-handed bat coming off the bench. But in games 2 and 3, he didn't do that. He had options on the bench. Even if he didn't use them, they were still there. And even the regular lineup, though, is balanced. Righty, lefty, lefty, righty, lefty, lefty, righty. So if you go to, and this is why they left him in, if you have the lefty and then you go to the righty to go get Volpe, well, now the righty's got to face a couple lefties after that. And so Alex Cora stayed with his rookie pitcher when it was clear he didn't have anything left, that he had done great, but he had run out of steam, and he left him in anyway. And I'm saying to myself, Aaron Boone is the smarter of the two pitchers. And Aaron Boone then rode Cam Schlittler through 8 innings. He kept with him. He didn't go to the bullpen. Ethan and I were talking after 7 innings. Who do you go for the final 2 innings? Who do you go to? That Yankee bullpen has at times been terrific, but it also has at times been horrific. And it was only a 4-run lead. And I was saying, don't go to David Bednar. Don't pitch him 3 days in a row. The Yankees need him for every series going forward. The fact that they brought him in, though, showed that Aaron Boone said, I want this game, and I'm playing these games to win. No fooling around. We are playing to win. It's an attitude, it's an approach that you really haven't seen by the Yankees. What else you haven't seen by the Yankees is stellar defense in the postseason. So many great plays. Anthony Volpe made a bunch of them. Jazz Chisholm made a number of good plays. Ryan McMahon flipping into the dugout. I mean, unbelievable. We have seen some really terrific plays by the Yankees. And you know what you didn't see? Great plays by the Red Sox. We saw them make some less than good plays defensively. It was almost bizarro world. The things that you expected the Yankees to do wrong, the Red Sox did wrong. So what an exciting final 2 games. Even the first game was exciting, if not frustrating, because the Yankees lost, and it just felt like they were going back down that same terrible path of making bad decisions in big games. I think the Yankees are confident. I think they feel they can win every series. I don't even think that they felt that in the past. There seems to be a championship edge to the Yankees this year. Aaron Boone deserves credit for that. He deserves credit for getting the team to this point, for that great finish. He steered them into terrible waters. I'll have to keep saying that, but he took them out of it. And they were great from like August 8th on. I don't think there was a better team in the major leagues. From the end of May to August 8th, I don't know if there was a worse team. I mean, there were. I'm exaggerating. But since then, he got them to turn it around. And somehow, because I don't know how he did it and how this happens every year in the regular season, they go through this terrible period and the team does not break apart into dissension as they lose and lose and lose. He's doing something right. But the beautiful thing, again, is that the in-game decisions, these last 2 games, the lineup, the pitching decisions, it's all working out. Oh, look, we have a 4-run lead. Now we'll put McMahon in. Let's play the better defensive player. He left Rodon in deeper last night, or, on Wednesday night. And then he let Cam Schlittler keep going. It was really smart baseball. I'm very impressed. Some people, it takes them a while. It really takes anybody a while to really grow into a position. Joe Torre wasn't a great manager when he started. I used to say this all the time. If Aaron Boone goes somewhere and becomes a great manager, good for him. That'd be great. I don't need him to learn on the job. but it looks like he did learn on the job. I've made this point about positions. This is why Jazz Chisholm shouldn't play third base, because he's not a third baseman. And for him to become a major league competent third baseman at a championship level, he's going to need years of practice there. The Yankees don't have time for years of practice. They're trying to make him a major league competent championship third baseman on the fly. It doesn't work that way. It takes time to figure it all out. And maybe, just maybe, the guy who's figured it all out as a manager in a big spot after being outmanaged for years is Aaron Boone. You know, Casey Stengel lost for years with other teams before he came to the Yankees and won all the time. It's very rare that somebody becomes an instant sensation. You know, there's the rule of 10,000 hours. You have to spend 10,000 hours at a specific task before you can become great at it. Now, we can argue over 10,000 hours. It's 12,000 hours. It's an exaggeration. You could do it in 7,000 hours. But the bigger point remains. In order to become a virtuoso, in order to become great at something, you need experience. That's true for being a manager. That's true for being a championship manager. That's true for being a center fielder. It's true for being an efficient letter carrier. It's true for being a doctor. It's true for being a teacher. It's true for being a principal. It's true for having a podcast. It's true for anything you do. You need to have repetition, great practice sessions. You need to go over it time and again. And it's through repetition, it's through perfect practice that you become great at things. And maybe, and one of the things I didn't want was the Yankees to have a manager who had to learn on the job. That was why I didn't want them to hire Aaron Boone at the start. I said, bring in somebody who's a great manager. I don't want a learning curve. I want to win the World Series now. But maybe, just maybe, he has gone over that learning curve, or he's gone through that learning curve. Maybe he's now gotten his 10,000 hours. And all of a sudden he's like, you know what? Now I get it. Now I know how to manage a championship team in the big game. Now I know how to prepare my team ahead of time. And now I know how to push the right buttons. Now, maybe I'm making too much of a series of just 3 games where you only had to win 2, and the Yankees clearly had the better team. Clearly. The next series is now against Toronto. I think the Yankees are the better team. If the Yankees then have to play, who are they playing next? The Tigers or the Mariners? I think they're better than both of those teams. I think the Yankees should make it to the World Series. I know all the people on Pags's Philly Sports Guys channels, they would love to see the Yankees and the Phillies battle it out. And maybe if that happens, I'll have to get Pags on here, the Philadelphia sports guy, and you know, he and I can argue and debate and have all sorts of fun before, or maybe even a couple of times during a Yankee-Philly World Series. That would be awesome. I'd love it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I still think the Yankees can go to the World Series. I still think the Yankees can win the World Series. There's just a different feel about this team. They feel deeper. They feel better. They feel more athletic. As I've written numerous times, Brian Cashman deserves a ton of credit for building this team that shouldn't just be great this year, but is pretty much already set for next year. They should be great for next year. Can you imagine if Garrett Cole can come back and even be 3/4 of the pitcher he used to be? You get Fried, Rodon, Cole, and maybe Schlittler, and then you can pick between Will Warren and Louis Heel and Clark Schmidt when he comes back. And maybe there's another young kid who impresses throughout winter ball and spring training. I mean, this is looking like a team. And then you got Bednar. I love him as the closer. Love him as the closer. And again, I wouldn't have pitched him tonight. But then they did. And he came in and he was phenomenal. And now he gets Friday off. Last night, of course. You're watching this on Saturday. And the big series with the Blue Jays begins tonight. I think it's this afternoon, but sometimes they change times, so I'm not quite sure. Obviously, on a Thursday night, close to midnight, what time that the game will be on Saturday, because these things have a way of moving sometimes. But I think the Yankees are better than the Blue Jays. I think the Yankees should win this series. And it should be fun. And it should be exciting. This is a much better, much more balanced, much more athletic Yankees team, managed by a man who just might have finished his internships and is now at the expert level, managing a deep and talented squad. This could be, I really feel like it is, the year of the Yankees. It's been far too long since it's been the year of the Yankees, but this might be it. All right, my friends, thank you for watching. There will be a brand new show. I'm about 95% certain for Monday night for the Start Spreading the News show. And then next Saturday, there's no way I'm going to have any information, any way to have a show about the playoff series with the Blue Jays. So we have a very special show next Saturday, October 11th. Former Yankee, former Major League pitcher Ray Burris comes on to talk Mark Littell and his career and his book and pitching and all sorts of great things. That will be here next Saturday. And then we'll figure it out as we go along. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Keep going to Start Spreading the News. And let's hope the Yankees keep winning. And I hope the Phillies keep winning. I want to see the Phillies in the World Series. It'll be fun. And whoever wins, the other team doesn't stink, by the way. They're major league teams in the playoffs. The one thing that disappointed me was when the Yankee fans, you heard it in the background tonight, started saying, Red Sox stink, but they use the other word, which most people don't consider inappropriate, but I do. It's still an inappropriate word. Red Sox stink. Red Sox stink. No, they don't. They don't. It doesn't make any sense. Yankees win. That's true. We're a better team. Sure. You stink? No, they don't. They're in the playoffs. They're going to be a contender next year. I've always hated that whole narrative. And I also don't like, my last point, why do you have to put them down? Watch. If the Red Sox stink and you're beating them, that means you're beating a bad team. What joy is that? I'd rather say Red Sox are great, but we're greater. What sounds better? We beat the best, we beat great teams, or we beat the team that really stinks? They stink so bad that we beat them, which really takes away any of the great accomplishment we just had, because all we did was beat up on a team that's really bad. I've never understood the whole thing. Maybe we'll talk about that another day. Thank you for watching. Let's go Yankees. Beat the Blue Jays. What a great, fun couple of games to end the wild card series. Great stuff. Be kind. Give love. Be happy. Be nice. Be generous. Be grateful. And have a wonderful day.